Thank you for joining the NACTA webinar series. Today, our special guest is Kasie Smith, who is the president of Serendipity Media. My name is Lorene Romero, and I am going to be the moderator for today. I just want to take a moment to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get going. I want to point out to you that you will see on your right-hand side a panel. In the panel, there's a drop-down box that says questions. If at any time you have questions that you would like to ask Kasie during our Q&A period, please put your questions in there and they will be put in the queue. If you have any technical questions and you want to reach me directly, there is going to be a box that says chat. That will come to me, and please don't put your questions in there. The chat's just, hey, Lorene, how you doing? Or I'm having a hard time with the sound, and I'll email or text you back directly. During this entire session, everybody is going to be on mute, except for Kasie. I will be putting myself on mute after we are done with the presentation. That's to keep the background sound to a minimum. I want to remind everybody this is also being recorded, and I will be sending out the link to this recording on a YouTube link within the next 24 hours. Also, something new that NACTA is doing, NACTA has a YouTube channel, and on that channel, if you subscribe to it, you will get notice when we put new webinars in there. Lisa Watson has made several short videos, training videos about how to use the website, how to log into your account, and other useful member tools. So please subscribe to our YouTube account and you will get those messages. So for now, I am going to put myself on mute. I am going to turn the reins over to Kasie Smith. She's like absolutely wonderful, huge supporter. Most of you will know her from our wonderful Agent Life magazine. She is always at our meetings. If you went to the Kona conference, you would have seen her all over the board. Kasie's all over the place there. She has definitely a heavy presence. And I personally love working with her. So there you go, Kasie. I built you up, ready to fly, and I'm going to put myself on mute.
Well, thank you very much, Lorene. I am really pleased to be here today. And for those of you who are on the call I've had a chance to meet through doing Agent Life magazine, certainly welcome you today. And for those of you who I haven't met personally, I certainly look forward to our paths crossing down the road. Serendipity Media is a full-service media company who we publish several different magazines, and 4 of which are in the tour and travel sector. So we do Agent Life. But if you guys, there's another magazine that you might be familiar with that is a NACTA benefit called Groups Today magazine. That happens to be one of Serendipity Media's publications, and it's a free subscription focusing on group travel in general. And so you'll notice that logo on the bottom of this presentation. Our company also publishes that magazine, and it was the first magazine that Serendipity Media published 13 years ago, and as a result, we've really grown from a magazine publishing just Groups Today to really a leader in audience optimization. Our company has grown in ways that we could not have predicted, simply due to the ever-evolving digital age in which we live. I like to tell people I started in this industry before email, and now everything we do is via email. But my hope today is to share with you a little bit about what we've learned through our experiences over the years and provide you with information that you can apply to your business immediately. So the presentation today is 7 tips for successful marketing in today's complex media world. What we're going to cover with you today is we're going to talk specifically about starting with a historical view of the evolution of media. We really need to talk also about the reality of today's media world, and once we do that, then we're going to go ahead and give you 7 specific tips and ideas that will make your marketing efforts worth it. But let's go ahead and start with a historical view and the evolution of media. In order to understand really where we're headed, it's really important to take a look at where we've been. And to say the only thing that is constant is change is an understatement. Obviously, this isn't new to any of us but it's more relevant than ever before when you consider how much change has transpired in the last 25 years. I created this timeline to show you what I'm referring to. In 1988, the primary source of receiving information was direct mail, it was newspapers, it was television, it was radio, and it was magazines. The World Wide Web came about in 1989. So households with internet access reached 50% in 2000. So from 1989 to 2000, that's where we were in the email World Wide Web phase. Shortly thereafter, 4 years after that, we saw iTunes created. We've also, in 2004, saw Facebook created. And today, there are 1.2 billion users worldwide per month. In 2005, YouTube entered our lovely media world and has 1 billion unique users every month. And what I always find surprising that it was 2007 when the iPhone was introduced, and today has over 50% of the population using smartphones. And today, really, I show this timeline to show how quickly things are changing, because prior to 1989, the world of media was very stagnant. It was direct mail, it was television, it was newspapers, and it was radio, and it was that way for 50 years. Then all of a sudden in 1989, with the World Wide Web, our world started moving at a rate in which we can't keep up. Now, my timeline only goes to 2007 here, but you know what, the reality is, there's social media out there, and that's changed the face of marketing in general. From the good, the bad, the ugly. And we've heard a lot about social media over the last 10 years, and some called it hype, some called it as an opportunity for free advertising. But whether you like it or loathe it, social media is here to stay, and we must play at least it has to play a big role in your overall marketing campaign. That being said, with all that's going on, it can be difficult to know exactly where the action really is. So we went ahead and created a graph for you to take a look at where things are at today. This graph shows you that the top 2 social platforms as of today are Facebook and Twitter, closely followed by YouTube and LinkedIn. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about how people are interacting with Facebook, as it still is the largest social network out there, being used with 1.2 billion users monthly. Now, I know Twitter is coming in at a secondary spot there, with YouTube being third. We're starting to see some trends where Twitter's starting to decline, YouTube is on the rise, but Facebook still is the #1 social platform out there for buyers today. Let's take a look at the activity that's taking place on Facebook. There are still 250 million photos being uploaded daily. There's 2.7 billion likes on Facebook. There are 37 million pages with 10 or more likes on it. And the average visitor still spends 20 minutes a day on Facebook. And 40% of Facebook visitors spend their time in their feeds. But what I think is important to note that, granted, these stats are used worldwide, but I think what we need to do is really understand how Facebook is beyond just loading photos and spending 20 minutes on their Facebook feed. In the travel industry, this is the relationship network. This is the network where we have the 35 to 53 demographic has grown by 41.4% in the last 3 years, with over 56 million users. A lot of people think that this demographic isn't huge, but when you take a look at 56 million users, that's still extremely a large demographic. Now, I know many of you have travelers between the ages of 35 and 53, but many of you have the 55 plus demographic. This is the largest growing demographic on Facebook and has over it's grown by 80.4% in the last year, with over 28 million users. And we're expecting to see that the 55 plus demographic will continue to grow. Obviously, there's a lot of companies out there that have business pages. One of the things that I like to tell people when we're talking about Facebook is, although we're seeing the demographic of the 55 plus growing on Facebook, we all potentially have business pages on Facebook. That the downside to Facebook is that algorithms change every single day. When you make a post on your business page, one important note to make is that only about 5 to 10% of your followers are actually seeing your posts. That is due to how algorithms work related to Facebook. Most social media experts agree that the biggest challenge with Facebook is certainly keeping up with the changes. Even if you've built up an impressive fan base and you post consistently, even if you spend money on advertising, you're likely noticing less interaction with your followers. And this is because your content is getting buried in the news feeds. If you're a consistent Facebook user, you probably already know the answer. Even if you have your feed set to most recent, the posts that show up on your news feed are bumped up to the top every time there is a new comment. New posts from pages that you've liked can be buried in sheer volume. According to adage.com, many businesses have seen the reach of their organic posts drop by more than 50% in the last 6 months. And Facebook says this is because content that is eligible to be shown in news feeds is increasing at a faster rate than people's ability to consume it. Well, that might be the case. Facebook's use of algorithms make it likely that there's more to it than simple data overload. In fact, Facebook offers the option of bumping your visibility in your news feed by offering a promote option, which of course comes at an additional cost. How much of a bump depends on how much more you pay. So for business owners like yourself who thought they would be guaranteed space in the news feed by getting a page, paying per like, and maintaining a presence with your new post every day or two, this fee isn't good news, because the bottom line is you must pay to play. So for all of you who have business pages who are posting regularly, you need to go ahead and boost content, because keep in mind, if you have 100 followers on your Facebook business page, every time you post, 5 to 10 of those followers may see your post. You can pay to boost, to show all 100 followers your content that you're sharing, but it is a realm today that is pay to play for a business usage. This is not to say that advertising on Facebook isn't worth it, but rather there may be more cost involved to get the desired visibility than appeared at the start of the process, and that cost is unpredictable. So it's very important to know that there is a cost related to that, but if you're feeling confused, do not fear. There's hope. We spend a lot of time here at Serendipity keeping up on the trends and changes in media that often literally happen overnight. Sometimes it feels just like when you figured something out, it changes again. But that's the reality of today's media world. We're forced to stay on our toes simply to keep up. When facing such challenges, we have a motto here: control what you can control. With a little bit of planning and a commitment to executing, you really do reap the benefits. So when we go down to our tips, the first thing that we say here is knowledge is power. You know, pretending that the digital age doesn't apply or play a role in your business will only result in a faster, more slippery decline in your business. When you finally understand the actions you need to take to maintain your relevance in the marketplace, it will take all the more energy and investment to make it happen. And yes, it can certainly feel daunting, trust me, but keeping up to date on the changes as they arise is critical in maximum effectiveness. Subscribe to blogs, e-newsletters, and participate in webinars like this. And now I realize you could be doing research all day, every day, and probably never learn all there is to learn. But pick something every week to really enhance your knowledge. Just one time a week can help provide simple tips that can save you time and money. Another thing that is critical, which I know all of you do this, but is explore what your competitors or your non-competitors are doing. You never know what's going to really spark an idea or thought that could help you grow or engage your audience. So really the biggest tip that we can give you related to media today is to continually educate yourself on what is changing in social media, in content marketing. We're going to give you several tips today, but do something every day that continues to expand your knowledge when it comes to marketing, because the more you do that, the more highly effective that you will become. I know we talked a little bit about Facebook, and we're talking about knowledge is power here. You know, the one thing I would encourage you guys to do is not only to test, throw $5 at a post, throw $10 at a post, see what it does for you. See whether you can go into the Facebook Insights and track some of the results of it. For $5 or $10, it's worth trying it out. If you see results, try a little bit more. You do not want to do it with every single post that you have, but do it with key posts that are very important to your business and stuff that you can track. Again, tip number 1, knowledge is power. Tip number 2 is explore other social media platforms other than Facebook. Now, while Facebook is definitely a relationship network, and it's still the king of social media because of its demographics and its volume of users, there are still viable channels that don't have as complex and rigid guidelines and changing algorithms as Facebook does. If you haven't explored Pinterest, Instagram, or LinkedIn, start exploring. You know, travel today is about the images that last in the minds and on our phones through our photos. So we know that pictures tell 1,000 words. So let your photos do the storytelling. Let's talk about Pinterest for a second. There are 70 million Pinterest users worldwide today. 63% of those Pinterest users are over the age of 35. 98 minutes are being spent on Pinterest each month. And here's the kicker. 80% of users are women, and 85% of all brand purchases are made by women. My guess and suspicion is that most of you, the decision maker when it comes to travel, is going to be women. Pinterest would be an area in which I would encourage all of you guys to spend some time really exploring. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Instagram, not because it's not important for most of you, but it's probably not your demographic, which happens to be a young 19 to 25 demographic. If you are selling to a 19 to 25 demographic, that would be worth exploring, but my suspicion is that most of you guys are above the 35 mark when it comes to your marketing efforts. What I'm showing you here is a sample of a tour operator and their Pinterest page here. And when we say that pictures are worth 1,000 words, you can see here that they've grouped their photo books here based on glamping, need a little romance, the bucket list type travel, philanthropy, meet your local friends, slow travel, island experiences. So I would encourage you as you create your Pinterest page to make sure that you put buckets or you create your profiles here based on the types of travel it is that you're selling, and allow people to pin those and use them accordingly. The next social channel I want to encourage you to think about a little bit is LinkedIn. And this is a channel that often gets overlooked when it comes to marketing, and primarily because it's one of the older social networks and it's dedicated to professional, obviously, and social networking. And it may not make sense for a ton of you, but you don't want to discount this channel either, because there may be opportunities for business travel. There's certainly when people are at work and it's this time of the year and you've got 6 to 8 inches of snow out on the ground and you're thinking about, hey, listen, I need to get out of town. If you happen to be providing travel content on LinkedIn, you may be able to generate some potential business out of them. 30 million users are using LinkedIn. 40% of their users check the site daily, and 54% of the users are male. So again, if you are selling a lot to a male decision maker, LinkedIn might be a really great place for you to be posting content. 2 additional social networks that I don't go into in depth in a format like this is YouTube and Twitter, and primarily not because they're not important. Actually, quite on the contrary. YouTube is quickly ranking as a top social channel available because videos are a great way to share destinations, to see and potentially see and feel what it's going to be like when somebody arrives at destinations. But most companies today are using YouTube at some level. I know in tour and travel, a lot of our supplier partners are creating videos that you can use to share. You can post them on Facebook, but a lot of times YouTube is not being used so much as a place where people are going to search. YouTube in our world is being used as a place to house our videos, just like this presentation is going to be housed on YouTube. You find it through NACTA.com, but it's storage for us in this particular world. Twitter is also important to consider, but in many cases, Twitter is better used on the supplier side to really monitor customer service. There's really little dialogue in the conversation. And so when it comes to the selling of tour and travel, I'm not so certain that that is probably the best avenue, but it certainly can be. So I wouldn't leave it out, but it's certainly something we find here that the top channels that we really want to explore is Facebook, is Pinterest, and LinkedIn. And then YouTube is being used at some level to help support the posts in all of those channels. So we basically have talked so far about knowledge. We've talked about exploring social media channels, Facebook, and then other channels as well. One thing that is important to note when you're talking about media in today's complex world is, oh, I forgot to show you. Here's a sample of a tour company who is actually just posting content here specifically about tour and travel and speakers and just engaging content. But when people go there, it's seeing the brand, which is one way to go ahead and post in LinkedIn. But as I said, outside of social media, it's important to note that you can't ignore traditional marketing. Printed brochures are still ranked as an important means of marketing for most travel agents and tour companies. So make sure that they are fresh, exciting, they stand out. Consider a dramatic redesign when that will ensure your clients notice your brand. Just because you've done something the same way for years with a decent result doesn't mean it's right. With the pace of things that are changing digitally, your print also needs to reflect a progressive trend. This might mean your one sheet, that you need to make sure, does your one sheet really represent a strong image, the image that you want to portray? In all of your collateral materials when you guys are going out and meeting with people or you're mailing to people. That same goes for direct mail and email marketing. And it's kind of hard to think that email marketing is traditional, but the reality is it is. So you need to make sure that traditional marketing from print, collateral, and email matches your brand. Don't forget it and don't leave it out of your marketing mix. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say let's not forget about print advertising. The question about whether print media is dead has been buzzing around the media world since the creation of the internet and social media. While many businesses have completely migrated their advertising efforts to the web because it is much more cost effective, exposure, it's much more cost effective. You get exposure to potential and convenience, but print remains its stance as a powerful and necessary component of any ad campaign. And you might be saying, well, why is this? Well, print is tangible. A print piece is a physical thing, and magazines and newspapers can stay in houses or offices for more than years, while internet ads disappear into cyberspace instantaneously. The other thing that print does is provide a level of credibility. There's something about print that gives a sense of legitimacy to potential buyers. Because the saturation of pop-up and banner ads on the web, my goodness, I'm sure you all feel the same thing. It can be overwhelming. There's also the fear of spam and viruses. That's enough to make someone, weary of clicking. So there's no imminent danger in a print ad. When it comes to the viability of print, it's target marketing. You can place ads in publications such as specialty magazine, and you can effectively reach niche audiences that may be more difficult to target online. My guess is, as a travel agent, you all have local magazines that you can consider advertising in. There's probably local women's magazines if the female market is what you're looking to do. But doing this allows you to target some niche audiences that certainly are a bit more difficult to target online. Print media is also more engaging. A lot of people say, how is that? Because online you can watch video, you can do all of this kind of stuff, but consumers are more engaged when reading printed material, unlike websites, which are often skimmed in as little as 15 seconds a visit. Print magazines are more engaging overall because they're more tangible. People hang on to them, they read them, they touch them, they smell them, they have them in their hands, they spend more time with them. But what's important to note, if you choose to do something print to drive your travelers to book business with you, that you need to know that print drives digital. So readers spend more time in print, but they spend their money online. And that's an important note that I think that everybody needs to understand. 83% of magazine readers use the internet and 45% made a direct purchase on the internet, but they use the print to drive that digital purchase. And magazines are the #1 in reader engagement, and the average reader spends 40 minutes with each print magazine. So I have to say this, not because we do print, but because it's a fact. Print is certainly not dead. In fact, the role of print in an integrated media business has transformed. Print is no longer a profitability driver. It still provides the brand validation that drives people to your website, which really leads us to the next thing, which is content is king. Content marketing really has dominated the conversation of marketers over the last several years. But for a lot of people, they don't really understand what is content marketing. Well, content marketing is the art of communicating with your customers and prospects without selling. It's called non-interruptive marketing. And instead of pitching your product or your service, it is you are basically delivering information that can make your buyer more intelligent. The essence of this is this content strategy is the belief that if we as businesses deliver consistent and ongoing valuable information to buyers, they ultimately reward us with their business and loyalty, and they do. Simply put, don't just sell your product, give your clients information, and they will reward you with their patronage. So, for example, one of the ways to do this certainly is an e-newsletter. Another way to do it is a blog. I would hope that most of you as, travel marketers are doing some sort of e-news communication with your client base or some sort of blog. These are two examples of pieces of content that bloggers wrote and shared through their e-newsletter. They shared through their social media channels. They shared on their blog for people that are following them directly. These didn't talk so much about somebody buying a specific destination, but a letter to the younger seeker. Here is the top 5 things that I learned from 10 years as a traveler and seeker. You're just giving them information about what you've learned. Here's another one talking about the 2016 shortlist on budget travel. That type of information is going to engage potential buyers. And if you can engage them by giving them a piece of information that they hadn't thought about, they will reward you with their business, and they do. That's what content marketing is really all about. So once you've gone through this process where you've really identified social media, you've incorporated print, you've got content to share with your readers, the next thing you need to really do is invest in technology. And there is no doubt that Facebook and all your social channels are critical to your marketing plans, but more than that is the understanding of mobile usage today and how it affects your initiatives. And a lot of this does relate to your website and your e-news communication. So one question is, are you mobilely optimized? If you are sending an e-newsletter and or if you have your own personal website, the question you need to ask yourself is, are you mobilely optimized? Which means, what does that website and or e-newsletter look like on a smartphone? Because 1/2, the image you see on the screen here, is 1/2 of all local searches are performed on mobile devices today. You see here that an average American spends 2.7 hours per day socializing on their mobile device. That's over twice the amount of time they spend eating and 1/3 of the time they spend sleeping. What is the size of the mobile market? Of the 4 billion mobile phones, 1.8 billion are smartphones. That's growing. As we're sitting here, that number is ticking up, ticking up, ticking up, ticking up. 91% of mobile internet access is socialized. So this is a very important piece in your strategy, is making sure that your website is mobilely optimized, and if you're sending emails, that those are mobilely optimized as well. And whether you're using a company like a Constant Content or a MailChimp, just be sure that you're using mobilely optimized templates. So now we've got great content. We've talked about making it mobilely optimized. We've talked about where to share it. The one thing we need to talk about a little bit is the last 2 things that I think are important is to dare to be different. We see too many people doing the same old things, but marketing really is about promoting your brand in the specific way you want your clients and prospects to view your company, your products, and your services. Forward-thinking and creative marketing is about getting noticed while being reflective of your brand promise. Fortunately for you, travel is fun. It's a fun product, and there's a lot of creative directions you can go with this. But be willing to take some risks and be surprising. Explore what your competition is doing and not doing, and stay engaged with current marketing trends. Is it time that you refresh your logo or your marketing materials? This could include a complete rebrand or overhaul, or just have a little fun tweak here and tweak there with your business cards and things like that. At Serendipity here, one of our brand promises is to be surprising, and we periodically try to stand out by doing something a little bit different. Here's some examples that we can show you that we try to do to stand out. We've actually made our business cards into a round circle that exemplifies our three circles in our logo. Those three circles represent print, digital, and what's to come. And so our business card specifically ties right to our brand. And I have to tell you, when our team was first saying we need to do this, I was the one who was very resistant because I tend to be a little bit traditional. It's probably one of the best branding things we've ever done for our company. Another campaign that we did was really focused on print media, and we had a campaign that was called Print Happens, and it was a series of direct mail pieces that talked about the statistics related to print and kind of what we talked about a minute ago, where we talked about it being more engaging, that print drives digital, and print is the driver to get people to make the purchase online. And our campaign was fun. It was engaging. We carried the same campaign throughout our trade show booths at our shows, and it was the highest level engagement we'd had in a campaign for years. Here's another couple of fun things we did just to get some people driving back to our trade show booths at various shows. The Threes Company, these are our 3 sales reps for this particular product. We had suppliers coming to the booth to get a spa gift basket. So here's our sales reps getting spa treatments. And every year at Serendipity, one of the things that we like to do to be surprising is do a fun and creative holiday card that we send out at year end. And every year it's different, but we've done this consistently for the last 13 years, and it has really gotten to the point where in the holiday times, people are asking us, oh, what are you guys doing this year? And it's become a thing where we've actually reached out on Facebook and asked for requests, and people submit ideas, and it's become something that people really wait for. But that's what we do to be surprising. You have to find what works for you, but the important thing to remember is embrace creativity and do something that stands out and makes your brand stand out, and push your comfort zone a little bit. You know, be sure it still matches your brand and your brand standards, but have fun with it, because people buy from people that they like, and it doesn't matter if it's travel or if it's ad sales or what it is, but people buy from people that they like. So have a little bit of fun with it. And the last thing I'm going to really end with here is that comprehensive media plans really are the future. So what does that mean? No matter how many information channels you are in, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, or where you are advertising, whether it's in print, whether you're still doing newspaper, your clients are not reading everything. Some will be reading your brochures. Some are going to find it easier to read an e-newsletter if you do it. Others will prefer a digital brochure or digital format. Some people would prefer to find your information socially. You know, and at the end of the day, when you combine all of these communication outlets, you optimize your total reach and increase your overall effectiveness. So remember, it's not about a blog. It's not about Facebook. It's not about being creative. It's not about, Pinterest or Twitter or content marketing. It's about putting all of those pieces together and doing them simultaneously. When you do that, you cast the net wide and capitalize on the largest group of potential buyers, and ultimately that increases your business. So that pretty much sums up the 7 tips for successful marketing in today's complex media world. Hopefully it doesn't feel as complex now. Over the last 25 years, media has changed rapidly, and it continues to change on a daily basis. We know that those who are not adapting are certainly being left behind, and those that are embracing change are reinventing themselves regularly. If you liked the information that you received today at Groups Today magazine, we do a daily newsletter, and this comes out and we provide information in our newsletter. It's just one article. You can click on it and read it, and we also provide destination information about group travel. So if you like that, you can go on to groupstoday.com. It's a free newsletter. As a benefit of being a member of NACTA, you can subscribe to Groups Today magazine as well at groupstoday.com, or you're welcome to follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or there's my own handles on Twitter and my email address. So at this point in time, Lorene, I will go open it back up to you and answer any questions that you have.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. Let me see. Let me go down, start down the list. Look at that, Kasie. You are psychic. The very first question was, how do we sign up for groups today? All right.
Yes, it is groupstoday.com, and right in the top right corner of the website is a subscribe function.
Perfect. And I have read your magazines, and they're very, very useful. You've got really good information on there, really good articles. And I really also want to give you a shout out for the Agent Life magazine that is with NACTA. That's a very comprehensive. It's got agent interviews. It's got supplier information, all about our upcoming events. And currently, right now, the cover girl is Robin Basso, and she's the sales and marketing manager for Hawaii Destinations. And you always have very good photos, eye-catching, as well as useful information to the NACTA members. So I encourage everybody to read the magazine because it's going to help you with your sales. Also with that.
The other thing, can I add on to that, Lorene, is that the new NACTA.com also provides content that was not appearing in the previous website. So that information also will be providing business tips and marketing ideas right on NACTA.com as well.
Excellent. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you. Next question is this recording going to be available? Yes, this is being recorded, and I will put it up on the new NACTA YouTube site. I will send a link at the end of this recording, and it will have all the information regarding this. It will also give you a link to be able to subscribe, so that way you can get future YouTube videos that we are putting together. Next question. Any suggestions for dealing with potential copyright or trademark issues that are involved posting videos to YouTube and photos to Pinterest?
You know, to post YouTube videos, if you share them directly from YouTube, you don't have to worry about whether or not you're doing copywriting, because if somebody posts them to a public page on YouTube, that is the beauty of the social network, is that you can share them, you can embed them into your site, and it will still appear, somebody can see that it goes to YouTube, or you can embed the share code onto your website. If somebody views it full screen, it takes them to YouTube. When you're talking about Pinterest, obviously you want to search for, destinations at which you want to go to, and you want to search your supplier pages. You can pin those into your pages, so you're not needing to, again, worry about copyright. Or you can take your own photos and post photos on there yourself and do it either way. So hopefully that answers that.
Excellent, excellent. And speaking as a fellow NACTA agent and using YouTube, one of the things that I have done over the last couple of years is when I am on a vacation, I want to show a destination, or I am on a training trip, I will take photos, and then being a Mac person, I use my iPhone, which works seamlessly with my Mac. I put them into photos, and I make a slideshow, because that way people have the vision, and then I will put a song with it, so that way people have the association of photos and music to go along with it, and then I will save that to YouTube and then post it. And I have had many sales that way. You keep it short, keep it about 3 minutes. You draw people in the beauty of Amsterdam, Seattle, Alaska, and it really does work. So I encourage all of you to be creative with your photos. If you have iPhones or Androids, you have a wonderful camera, and the best camera you will ever have is the one that's with you. If it's a DSLR, it's not with you, it doesn't take good photos.
Correct, correct. The one thing I will say about to the previous question, Lorene, about copyright is the one thing, your suggestion about doing photos and putting music to it and loading it to YouTube is a great idea. The one thing you do need to be worried about is the copyright related to the music sometimes. So you need to make sure that you're using music that is uncopyrighted, so that you can't just take any of a top 50s hit and load it to YouTube, because it will get rejected.
It's a good point. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yes.
Thank you. Next question. Do you need to upgrade your LinkedIn account and pay for their services to market your products?
That's a great question, and the answer is no, you don't. LinkedIn, there's a few ways to market your product through LinkedIn. You can have your own personal page where you just do a post just like you do on Facebook or you do on Twitter, but you have a little bit more space. So you write your status and you put your link to an article or to your blog maybe, or to a website that you're trying to promote, a destination, whatever you want it to be. So it's set up very similarly. So you can post it on your personal page. You can create a company page for your business, and you do not have to pay to do that. And lastly, you can obviously post content into groups, and so you can join groups and you can do all of that personally without paying. The place where you want to start paying is if you're starting to, you can enhance and take a look at who's viewing your profile. So you can go a little bit higher level if you want to go advanced, but I would say for the average person, you do not need to pay to get your word out.
This one's a very good question. Kind of new in the multimedia industry, not really good at Facebook. Do you have any recommendations of a company that would be as a resource to use that could maybe post for you so that way they can indeed create a business page?
Sure, absolutely. I would encourage, I'm very much a proponent of doing everything local. You know, we as a company, Serendipity Media, actually does this for our association clients that we work with. So there's companies like ours that do that. But in your own local backyard, my guess is that you have a local PR firm that does this. This is what they do for a living. You can hire them to create your page and actually do all of your posts. And for a lot of them, they do it based on a retainer basis. So you decide how much money you want to put towards your social media strategy, and they will sit down and talk with you, and you can just pay them on a monthly basis to do it for you. And they should provide to you monthly analytics as to what is getting reach, where are you seeing your engagement go, who's engaging with your content. So you can get a lot of data from somebody who really knows how to do Facebook. And so if you are feeling like you're a Facebook novice person, I highly recommend finding somebody who can do it for you. The best place to do is you pay for it through a PR firm. And the other option for some people that might make sense in your business is consider hiring an intern from your local college or university who can come in and establish that for you. The downside in that is that if you bring somebody in to set it up for you, keeping it going is the key. You can't just set up a Facebook page and not do anything with it. You have to do something with it regularly. So if you do an intern, you need to keep having an intern so that that presence continues to stay top of mind. And they're good at all channels.
Excellent. And also what you were recommending about maybe updating your logo and refreshing your look. If you're involved in, say, a B&I group or some sort of networking, there's almost always a designer that's going to be in that group. And that person, what you would hire them to do is, let's say you're having a new logo, kind of like we were just showing on here, make sure that logo will fit on all the different formats, whether it's a website, Facebook, Pinterest. You want to start branding yourself. And I love the idea that you're talking about refreshing because, you know what, a logo that's 15 years old may not seem all that long ago. It seemed like you just did it. But, you know, styles change, appearance change, media changes, and you're absolutely right. It's so important to be able to have your branding the same on everything. And also, I just want to remind everybody exactly what she was talking about. Make sure that your websites are mobile ready. They're stopping, please correct me if I'm wrong, but they're no longer gathering Google Analytics if the website's not mobile ready.
You know what? It's a great point to bring up, Lorraine. Actually, just a tweak on that. You can still use analytics, so you can still see traffic. However, your search will not be found. So when somebody goes and searches a destination that you do, you're not going to be in your SEO when somebody searches that. You go to the bottom of the barrel. So if you and your competitor are searching for, group travel to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and your competitor is mobily optimized, their search, their web address will come up in the search, but yours will not. Yours will go to the bottom of the barrel. So that's the difference. So your analytics will work. It's the SEO piece that they're not recognizing.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Again, I want to thank you for being here and giving us the 7 tips. Those were very clean, very good, to the point. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to thank everybody for attending. If you came on a little bit late, I want to remind everybody this is being recorded. I will post it to the NACTA YouTube account shortly. It will also be sent out with a link for you to be able to click on it and download it. I also want to encourage everybody to start subscribing to the NACTA YouTube account. I will include that link on a follow-up email message, and that way you're going to be able to start getting some of the short training videos that Lisa Watson is going to be sending out. You will also be able to automatically get notified when we have our webinars posted, exactly the one that we are doing today, which is a perfect example because it's got wonderful media information in it. Anything else you'd like to say before we close up?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And make sure to check out your most recent issue of Agent Life, and then you will picture the mastermind who puts this all together. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of your week and enjoy your weather, no matter if it's good or bad. Bye-bye.